Today is July 15th, 2022. It's episode 201 of Maelstrom Radio. Maelstrom Radio. With your hosts, Gladys and Shitter. And welcome back to Maelstrom Radio. My name is Peter. With me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Quentin. Hi.
Hello.
Also
Hi.
with us, we have a friend. We have a guest.
That's true.
Also with us, former co-host of mine, also a friend.
Yeah. Different podcast, though.
Different podcast. But guest on our show this week, Talan Broadbent is here.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to be back.
Hi, Talan.
It's been a hot minute.
It has been. The hottest of minutes. Welcome. Where have you been?
I mean, it's cool here. We're good.
Is it cool?
Well, it's not cool in here. I'm in a booth, so I'm on fire, and it's fine. I kind of feel like Chile over there in the UK right now, where they're just like melting.
Yeah, train tracks are just catching on fire.
Yep, sure are.
Oh, it sounds like Talon's a little low still.
Okay, let's do this. I'm just going to really eat my
magic of mic.
There we go. Is this better?
Yes. at least in my side, it sounds good. Hopefully, it's
I'm going from chat, so
yeah. Chat. We had Talon turn up his gain, and now he's into his microphone. So
gotta get those gains.
Just for you. So before say something. No. So before,
wait, are you giving up on him?
No. Say something. I'm not gonna. Not doing that. Before anything, Talon, we've added something new to Maelstrom Radio. We asked our guests that are on camera to show us if they have any desk smalls or knickknacks that are upon their desk.
Like Invisible Frog.
Like Invisible Frog. I enjoy Invisible Frog. So do you have any
Invisible Frog is just for the guests because the stream can never see him.
Yeah. So do you have any things on your desk that the stream can or cannot see?
Well, they typically can't see what's on my desk because I don't usually show my hands on stream. But yeah, I got a few. So the first thing that I want to show, this is like super wholesome, right? I got this right here, and I'm gonna bring this in just a little bit.
Oh, he has a little finger.
Well, no, it sits just like it has a little suction cup thing, and it just sits there.
Oh,
right?
it's a suction cup.
Yeah. So this is squishy, not squishy, squishy. So one of my students gave this to me because they thought that I needed it, and it sat on my desk at school for a very long time. And when it kept getting accosted, so I put it in my box so that it guarded all of my papers so that they didn't fall out. And then now that the school year's over, I bring Squishy back, and Squishy keeps me company on my desk.
I love
the
Squishy.
Other thing that I have,
and he shall be yours.
Yes, then that's exactly what I said. This is Squishy, and I will call him mine, and I will keep him forever, and I will love him, and I will squeeze him. The next thing I have is not nearly as wholesome as that. I do Gunpla on the side. And I have a little scale model heavy arms. That there. And then
it's got a big stick.
Related. Yeah. Speaking of big stick, big thick. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, we're getting less and less wholesome the more we get into this.
We got Xenos from the Stormblood Collector's Edition.
Showing off that Zeusy.
Yeah, there you go. Extra thick. And then the last thing that I have on here, when Raven and I went to Disney World in 2018, They had just released the Pandora Avatar ride, and like that whole section of the park, and you're able to have a avatar created right after like your likeness and your image. So they take like a scan of your face and do the whole 9 yards. I didn't have a beard at the. No, wait, did I? I think I was growing my beard. So you'll see a babyface Talon as an avatar, and this is one of those here. And it actually has the redemption card. So each one of these is wholly unique,
Ooh.
and there can never be another one exactly like this one. So
So it's a Highlander.
I'm technically an action figure.
That's something you don't hear every day.
It's true. I might be the first person that has an action figure of themselves showing off
and
on the
then
show. So
The other things that I
Well,
have
that's
that,
definitely.
that are just like a part of kind of who I am and the whole reason why I have the booth in the first place. I have a Goku that I have hanging on the wall right in front of me, and the 4-star Dragon Ball.
Well, where are
Hands
the
with me.
other?
The other
6?
ones are behind me. I keep them,
Okay.
but this one is the one that I keep with me. And actually, when I'm recording, I keep this very, very close. I use it as like a fidget so that I don't get super nervous while recording an audition.
nice.
Chili says Grandpa's ball.
Ah! I don't know why that's so funny to me. Just Grandpa's ball. He's only got one. we don't talk about it. Well, welcome back, Talon.
Yeah. You know, it's been a little while. It has been, and I'm glad to see that things have not changed
Not
at
one
all.
bit, sadly.
Not one tiny little bit.
Our production quality has slightly increased. Not much, but slightly.
Yeah, production quality's gotten better. Same old jokes. So let's
Experimental comedy.
It's still there. So with the opening, let's also talk about like what have we been gaming? What have we been doing? Recently, I think
let's let Talon go first.
Let's go Talon first. Yeah, I was about to say let's let Talon go first.
So what I have been playing, okay, so I've been kind of all over the place, but I've recently come back to Final Fantasy XIV. That has been a whole lot of fun. I've recently got back into Savage Raiding, and I'm now a scholar. So those of you who have been following me from the beginning knew that I started raiding on Scholar, and now like I've made the full circle. So I went healer, DPS, tank, and now I'm back to healer. So I've run the full gambit. The only thing I haven't done yet is casting, and I don't think that I ever will.
I've heard that it's really fun, but also just no.
Well, Scholar's a whole lot of fun, and then when you can just negate mechanics by getting a crit low, and then deployment tactics, that's oh, it feels so good. But every other time, you just gotta wait for your OGCs to come up because you can't heal otherwise. So you just broil, and then broil. When you're done with that, you can try to broil again. So,
And every now and then you get a little bit of a movement boost.
yeah, zoomies, gotta love the zoomies.
There you go.
The other thing that I've been playing kind of off stream have been some Digimon content, and then on stream I've actually been going through Final Fantasy VI.
Nice.
I don't know anything about that one.
6 is so good. 6 is great.
So,
Which one isn't good for you? I think I've heard every time someone's brought up Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy X. Oh, Final Fantasy X, so good. Final Fantasy IX, so good. Final Fantasy VII,
they're good in their own rights.
On it. Which Final Fantasy is not good to you?
1 through 3. they're alright.
That's fair. That's fair.
They're alright. They ain't super great, but you know.
Yeah.
But seven's
having played
fantastic.
one, I can understand this.
Dirge of Cerberus. That doesn't count. You take that back, Chili.
Yeah,
that don't count.
About mainline games.
Yeah.
Dirge of Cerberus is good though. Like, have you ever played it?
They did Vincent Valentine. They did that man wrong.
Look, it was the first third-person shooter that they had ever made.
15.
15 was good. I enjoyed 15. It has issues, but it is not necessarily bad.
You mean final product placement fantasy?
Yes,
Listen,
also
you
Final
leave
Fantasy
me in
does
my
cover.
Coleman campwear alone.
Coleman was not the main ad product on that one.
It was not.
Cup Noodle.
It was Cup Noodle.
There's Cup Noodle. The game.
Terrible. Terrible. So the part in Final Fantasy VI that I just got to, I have met a little gremlin boy, Gao, and at first I was like, it has the move leap. I can, like, is this the Dragoon? This is a weird take on No, this is the Blue Mage. And I have to run around on this one section of the map for hours because I need all the buttons. And I'm just like, why did they design it this way?
Because
I'm not going to be able to
retro games like that.
Because games were sort of cheaper then, and they needed to squeeze out all the content.
Listen, I'm not going to be able to go past this point until I get all of the things. But I'm like, the chat has suggested like maybe I could just get a few of the things. But then like my brain's like, but no, what if I need that one really niche ability later on in the game that I'm not ever going to be able to get again? So I need to do it now. And I'm just terrified.
It's like using
that's how
items.
games used to be.
You get all the items, but you never use any item because what if you need it later?
Yeah. You have 999 potions, and you at the end of the game you have 997 because you thought you could afford the 2. Forget the fact that you have over 900 more.
Yeah, never use items till the final boss. That's how you play.
Just never, and even then might not be the real boss. That's true. It's a Final Fantasy game. That's so true. It's so true.
You never use the items until the final boss, but since you don't know who the final boss or when the final boss is actually going to hit, you just never use the items.
Well, yeah, it could be like Final Fantasy IX, where you think that you've been fighting the main bad guy the whole way through, and then all of a sudden there's Necrozma, and you're like, I've never even. Like, I love that game, but, like, the final fight, I'm just... Where? What? Who even are you? Do you even go here?
Or they have, like, 18 different forms that you have to take out.
Yeah. I mean, Square was so good at that they did it to Super Mario RPGs. They're like, hey, this was written real cute, huh? Now here, fight God. And Mario's just at the end of the galaxy fighting God. Actually, it was probably, like, the precursor Endwalker. If anything, Mario did it first.
Wow.
I mean, didn't we kind of have that in Smash Bros. Too?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had to get it from someplace.
Yeah.
You,
good ideas.
Your brother and your little mushroom friend there, and that other turtle with a wig.
The other turtle with the wig.
Are gonna fight God here in a second. I better hope I brought all my mushrooms, sir.
Come on, Mario, we're gonna fight God, even though I'm 2 foot tall and a mushroom.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Honestly, I'd take him over Mario into the fight.
Just throw him.
Well, I'm a big Toad fan. Anytime that I played Mario Kart, like the Super NES Mario Kart, like I always picked Toad every single time, and I would win. I would crush my brothers, and they would just,
Toad is objectively the best Mario character for Mario Kart.
It's true. Also, Toad's voice got like weirder and weirder as the games went on. So
it got more shill every single time. And I'm like,
every time.
Why?
And then there's Baby Toad.
Yeah. What the hell's a Baby Toad?
Wait, was there a Baby Toad? I know it was Baby Mario.
Baby Toad? Hold on a second. Hold on.
I mean, wasn't Toad the one taking care of Baby Mario and Baby Luigi?
That could be it. I can't remember. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like there was one.
No, but I
remember there was
I see a fan drawing of a Baby Toad.
Oh, so do I. Is it the pink hat one?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna link this in our chat.
I know
because it's beautiful.
Also, there's Toad with a flamethrower burning Baby Mario.
I put it in the chat as well. Yeah,
that is adorable.
That's a Toad. It's a baby.
It is. It's. So, have you ever seen Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No.
Flattish, you've never seen Yu Yu Hakusho? Okay.
Oh no, I have. I have.
Okay, Flattish, you're gonna. All that is Koenma silhouette with bigger feet.
Yo, this got real. This got This
I'm
turned
not
this
wrong.
turned into like late night Cartoon Network at like Friday night at 1 a.m.
People are gonna wake up and be like, "Wait, what's happening?" And then you hear that one intro in the background just going over and over.
Yeah. Oh, I just
At
got
least it
done.
wasn't Neon Genesis Evangelion.
No, no, you just finished your Inuyasha marathon.
Yep.
Another one I haven't seen.
So-
Thankfully.
Wait, you haven't seen any? Okay,
No, I
Shane,
haven't. I started with Bleach.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I started with Full Metal Alchemist, but like the first like major long one I watched was Bleach.
Bleach.
I think,
And then
like,
Thank you,
Naruto.
Joe. Yeah, Tsunami.
knowing what some of your like interests are, I think you would really enjoy not Naruto.
Inuyasha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I've been tempted to start it a couple times. I've just stayed away.
I don't know how often I've ever heard the phrase. Given some of your interests you have, I think you'd be really into Naruto.
No, well, see that one. No. That one.
Honestly,
everyone
I do
needs
know
to
people
skip.
that would.
I mean, I like Naruto.
If you exclude the filler, it was really good.
Yeah, if you take out the
Some of
filler,
the-
it wasn't bad.
Some of the filler is good as well as just the fact that it's everywhere.
It is.
Well, yeah, it's like,
Although,
you know, you have 3 episodes of really good storytelling and character development, and then the rest of the season is filler.
60
Yeah.
episodes of film.
Yeah.
then you got 1 episode that explains why Sasuke is being a dickbag. And then you have 130 episodes of filler, and then
Yeah.
you have the 1 episode where Naruto's like, "Okay, I'll love you anyway."
Mm-hmm.
And I spoiled it. That's the whole anime. There you go.
I finished the original Naruto, of course, and Shippuden I was working through. And when they finally came back after their hiatus, I caught up, and I have like I can't remember, I have less than 100 episodes left to go in the end. But of those remaining episodes, like 80% of them are all filler, and there's like 6 episodes left, and I can't bring myself to actually finish the series.
Oh no. I'll get there.
I
one
also
day.
stopped with One Piece in like around 1,000, maybe 960.
Also,
Well-
did Lufty get hot all of a sudden? Did it, I looked on the internet and all of a sudden he was like buffed out.
I wouldn't call him hot, but he definitely roided out. That's for sure.
Yeah, he got like
Yeah, he
roided
did.
out. People on the internet. Well, you know the internet. All of a sudden it was like, "Step on me, Monk Daddy."
Yeah, well, I'm not here to kink shame, but he did not skip chest day.
No,
He
or leg
Or
day,
Arm Day.
or any day, honestly.
Because his legs are a little shorter now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But everybody's
Kinda
just
hops
like,
around.
"What potty part stretch, sir?"
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
all the
no.
internet. I don't listen. This is the same internet that saw the 9-foot vampire lady was like, yes.
So
So
earlier
it said the same thing
today,
to you.
Ah-Ra was trending on Twitter,
Oh no.
and I'm like, well, you know, maybe it's nope.
Oh.
Don't.
Was it related
no.
to the WoW release?
You know, I wish I would have seen some of that. That would have been great. I would have loved to see some cross-reference media, some conversations
would have
about
been-
how they're basically the same race. That would have been awesome. That is not what we got. That was not anything like with what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't look at Twitter trends. Like I have TweetDeck, so I see all of my Twitter content,
Mm-hmm.
my columns, my DMs, all of that sort of stuff. But I don't get the trending topics and whatever. It's made it for a really nice Twitter experience.
I don't know. There's been some gold in those trending topics.
Yeah, but it's just saner.
Well, when we're not playing the game of Twitter, what we did this week is that, first of all, you and I played Operation Tango yesterday.
We did really good game.
Yeah.
Very
game.
fast paced though. If you're not into fast paced stuff, like it's fast paced.
Yeah, it's less. It's puzzles, but less puzzly, more fast paced, like more
Fast puzzles.
fast puzzles and fast communication. Susan and I are still going through Strange Horticulture.
Did you join the cult yet?
Yes.
I don't remember. I don't think. Oh, you did join. Oh, yeah, you did because you gave the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. You're still playing through Stardew.
I'm still doing the Stardew playthrough. We are in. We just actually finished off spring last stream. So we're now in summer year 2. We should be finishing up our the last things that we need for the community center to get our greenhouse.
Yep.
So that should be done next stream. And we're slowly working towards finishing the community center so we can go on an island vacation.
Nice.
We did find some blockers though this week. Since I'm on a beach farm, because it was originally supposed to be a fishing stream, still is now and then. You can't put sprinklers on sand. So there's a very small area that is not sand in the beach farm that we can actually put our farming plots on and put sprinklers around them. But if we put it anywhere outside of that, you can't put sprinklers. Because sprinklers don't work well in sand, apparently.
Just get wet sand.
So that's been interesting. Yeah, we figured out our planning quickly last week. But it's been pretty good. I got a horse. He's got a hat. The horse's name is Britsy. It's British, and it's got a green bow. Yeah.
Look at your horse. Is your horse amazing?
No, stop.
It is.
Stop. Peter, stop. No.
So we actually asked chat what we should name the horse, and eventually just went with the random name Britsy because chat didn't get back fast enough. But funny enough, the name there was a name suggested eventually. It was too late for me to choose it, but our next horse will be named this. Susan proposed the name that we named the horse Raisin.
Perfect. Yeah, great.
Yep.
Y'all are unlocking memories that I thought I had long.
Yep. And after that, I then reintroduced people to the jazz version of that song.
Yeah.
Because they didn't realize there was an actual official jazz remix.
And then I introduced people to the Italian punk band's cover.
Yep. But aside from that, this week we've been doing a lot of Pokemon Unite, actually.
We did Pokemon Unite.
Oh, really? I haven't missed those.
We haven't been doing it on stream. We've been doing it kind of on our own in Discord a little bit ad hoc. A few of us got together on Sunday after my Stardew stream, and we just kind of played together. We did some random matches, some ranked matches. Just had a lot of fun. So we've been kind of playing it on and off, sometimes together, sometimes not. But it's been really fun. We haven't played it for almost a year since it came out, and they're about to hit their 1-year anniversary. So there's like going to be a welcome back event and all these sorts of stuff coming up in the next couple weeks.
That's really cool. I kind of slept on Unite because when it first launched, there was a lot of issues. There was a lot of issues with it, and I'm not real big into the MOBA thing, but I have been playing Wild Rift a little bit. But I'm gonna have to jump back into Pokemon Unite. I still have it downloaded on my Switch. I've ignored it.
I've never played Wild Rift. I generally don't like MOBAs. I'm not good at MOBAs. For example, a number of years ago, one of my friends was trying to get me into League. So they actually spent multiple days sitting down and teaching me how to play League. And after a number of these sessions where they were teaching me how to do everything, I almost was able to overcome a team of bots. And that's how good I was at League. So I couldn't defeat the bots, let alone an actual person. In Pokemon Unite, I can carry a team in some cases. I had a game earlier today. It was a ranked match, so people actually knew what they were doing. And I was playing a speedster, so I was jungling in the middle, and I ended up getting like most of the points for our team, and we easily decimated our opponent. So it's definitely a lot easier to get into than most MOBAs, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot less stressful, especially because there's no chat system.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't imagine a MOBA where Nintendo actually allowed something like that to happen, given the
They have one. You can use one.
Really?
But it's optional and off by default.
Isn't it behind the paywall? Or am I thinking of the voice one?
Voices.
I don't know.
You have to pay for Nintendo, the mobile app. You have to use the mobile app. That mobile app is hot garbage.
I don't think it's paid though.
You're better off using Discord's mobile app for voice.
Yes. That's what we did. We just hopped in Discord and we were coordinating that way. We were not good as a team. But we made do. We got better over time, but we were still not great.
I don't know. There's sometimes I'd blame the rando that would come in there and be like, all right, this is our plan, and then they're like, I'm doing the thing. I'm like, no, that's not our plan.
I feel like too, like once as we kind of got more familiar with things, because we had literally just all jumped in that day and we hadn't played much really. So like the more that we're getting used to it, I think the better we're getting. Like I looked on it earlier today, and you start off as like a beginner rank if you're playing ranked matches, which I don't tend to play ranked matches. I just like the fun ones. But I was looking through our PvP levels because Chili is our expert. He was downgraded to Great Class 4, which is like the level before expert, I think. But he's still like the max level of that rank. If he wins a few, he would immediately go into the expert rankings again. I just entered the great ranks. I finished the beginner ranks. I'm in the great now. Peter, I think, is somewhere in the beginning of the beginner ranks, or in the mid maybe. Susan is at the end. Susan's at the same rank as Chili now. She's almost an expert.
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
So
She started playing this with us like a week ago. She's just killing it.
wow. Okay. Very cool.
So
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's a
I was
for
better
the
at hers
non-gamer
this time.
to come out and
I get
be a
yeah,
PvP
the
master.
non-gamer.
just like peeking out like.
Yeah. Hello, I'm non-gamer.
Wait, I gotta do it from here.
Yeah. Like, hello. Listen, I was really good at Heroes of the Storm and Smite. Those are my jam. I just also have not been playing as often as other people can get to play. Susan is super competitive. That is true. So let's get into the news. Because we'll talk about Pokemon Unite.
Right, we still got
hours.
news.
We still have news.
All right, we gotta go rapid fire news.
Well, let's do it in this order then. Hey, how do you guys feel about billboards?
Oh my god.
How do you guys feel about billboards in Texas?
Yeah.
They were in California too,
And California.
but they got
Okay. So look, okay, most of you know I'm from Texas,
Yeah.
right? And
Hot.
it's real hot here. And our beach is even hot. Like it's
Yeah.
like 80 degrees.
singular. You have one beach.
Yeah, we have one beach. It's just one like strip of just gross sludge most of the time
Yeah.
because people don't know how to take care of anything.
There.
We have a lot of interest here in Texas.
Yeah.
But one of those
Mhm.
as a whole
Yep.
probably is not virtual ERP.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, if you have that sort of interest, you're probably not gonna be outside to see a billboard, right? So everyone who saw the billboard in Texas collectively went, "The fluff is that? What is this? What is it?" And then only doubled down to reaffirm the terrible assumptions that everybody has that people who play video games are just weird. And it has been a dumpster fire.
It didn't really improve like the image of gamers to people that don't know gamers. It's just like, what is scantily clad bunny lady? What is
Didn't really improve it. Like it didn't really help them in game either.
No, it did
Within
not.
the community.
No, if anything, the community now has a billboard to create memes with. So
Well, that is very
That
true.
was
The
very
memes that have
great.
come out of this have been god tier.
also they threw the Final Fantasy 14 logo on the billboard, which you're not supposed to do, and they posted modded clothing on the billboard, which is against terms of service. Also, they posted the clothing that was data mined. Like they did
Supposed to be for the next Moonfire Fair event. Yeah, what?
anything that you could do wrong. They like.
Well,
Peter,
no,
Peter,
let's give them
no,
credit. They
Peter, hold on. Their legal team said it was okay.
What?
They
Who's
checked
whose legal team?
Their legal. I don't know. Their legal team.
Yeah.
The
They
Lalafell
checked
in the back of the corner is not the legal team.
Listen, everyone who says that this wasn't legal and legit, I'm gonna write your name down. I'm gonna write your name down, and that's gonna be the first warning. Okay. And if you continue to say that this wasn't legal, then I'm gonna take your name and I'm gonna put it on a Google Doc.
Yeah. Then you're gonna see. Google's gonna have your name. And then Google's gonna give it to their sentient AI. You'll see what's wrong.
And then they'll come and arrest you.
We have to give them some credit. They didn't do everything wrong on it. They didn't actually advertise the ERP. You had to go to the Discord and have it all thrown in your face.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm right. There was an actual lawyer that covered it on YouTube.
Well, did you hear what happened to Spoofy?
Yes.
No.
That was
yes.
Okay. So, well, I'll let Quentin tell you. That was dirtbag move 100%.
The malware
yeah.
Discord.
So they reached out and asked, like, hey, would you be interested in attending this sort of thing? And then also there was some things around, like, they had assumed, I think, that she was going to attend. And, like, we're saying that she was going to attend and telling people and not mentioning that it was, and saying that it was going to be, like, a friendly, like, family friendly, because all of her content is very wholesome. It's all family friendly. It's all super chill. Like, it's great. But they also went into her Twitch and was asking, and like it was they were being really sketchy about it all. That's what I've seen so far. Was there anything else?
Well, no, that was basically it. Where they told her, like, hey.
I thought they were
like,
switch.
hey,
she showed up.
Well, no, that's exactly what happened.
Oh,
they
she
were
showed
like,
up.
Hey, she was like,
she didn't show
up. Okay, I was about to say, it was like she did not show up
because she did like the smallest amount of research which any of these people a part of this free company and Discord, whatever, like if they would have done just the minuscule amount, that like none of this would have happened. But so she went and like dug a little bit, and then when it found out that they did the Billboard thing and had asked her, because at first she thought it was just like a centralized in-game event, they wanted to try to promote it, use her to do it. Okay, whatever, that was weird, you shouldn't have done that. But then when it like blew up, she's like, listen, this is incredibly disingenuous to try to get me to come, like, basically give credence to an event that that my channel doesn't like promote. Why would you? Why? Like, that doesn't. I don't know. It was really, really crappy. And for like someone as wholesome and as nice as Spoofy, like, why would you would even like you would have had a better chance trying to find any other content creator to do something like that. I mean, and there's plenty of Ascalia, his podcast probably would have like, yeah, let's do it. I'm not going to speak for them, but that's like their alley. But no, they didn't reach out to them. They went to.
Yeah, she would have been in a little bit better position to be like, hey,
yeah.
No, Susan, we can be bought, but not by ERP venues.
Well, the right ones.
Not Billboard ones.
No,
give us numbers first.
Yeah.
We need to see on the numbers.
Yeah, listen, if you're coming at us and you're like, listen, Tostina's pizza rolls, you're out of here. But you come at me with like, hey, you want steaks? I like steaks. No, not steaks. What a steakhouse. Those aren't cheap.
No, not a huge fan. Okay, not a huge fan of, but the red meat as much. We'll discuss it. We'll workshop it. Maybe some sushi.
Yeah, see, Susan like fish. I mean, I could work the sushi. We'll figure it out. Ramen? Like, I don't know, it could be. What's really expensive food? Like
ramen.
That's true. Ramen could be very expensive. You are correct. Hella ramen. Listen, like I just want one of those Naruto bowls.
Or just a whole bunch of Naruto in it.
It's just like, that doesn't cakes. It's just the fish
cakes. It's just the fish cakes. Yeah.
They don't taste as good as you expect either.
They're just gelatinous. There's no flavor to them. I just got back from eating way too much sushi. It happens. So other than terrible taste in billboards.
Okay, continue. I won't segue to the other topic yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say. Well, I was gonna segue to the other topic. But real quick though, Maelstrom Radio does not condone the use of buying billboards or using, modded character art or the illegal use of the Final Fantasy 14 logo.
If you
Important
want to
disclaimer
build, if you want to do a billboard of Maelstrom Radio, contact us because we probably would endorse that though.
Yeah, you could do that. Do that.
As long as it doesn't use Final Fantasy logo
Yeah, you can
and
do the logo.
assets and DRP and mods.
Mhm.
Keep it sensual, not sexual.
Listen. You can post two people like back rubbing each other. That's probably okay on a billboard. No?
Probably depends on what they're wearing.
Okay.
That depending on the situation. That can border the line.
What about an old timey
No,
sleek
Susan's got
dress?
it. It's got to have the pets on it.
Oh, okay.
The pets and Mortimer.
Wait, here's two fluffy cats and a dog.
This is what I see. This is what I see as Maelstrom Radio's billboard.
All right, perfect.
There's two bears and they're back to back and they're just like they're just scratching each other's back, and then Mortimer's off to the side just like terrified, completely terrified. And that was the mental image in the back of my brain, and I had to like mute my mic, step away because I was dying.
My billboard don't jiggle, it roars.
So I got one slight change to your billboard. One of them is a bear, but the other one is a moose with the antlers.
Yeah.
And that's how they're scratching each other's back.
Perfect.
There you go. So if somebody could get on that, go ahead. Just don't do it in Texas. Just don't do it in Texas. We don't need another one of those. We don't.
I mean,
Texas isn't a fan of bears?
Not touching that one. Nope, not touching that one. And
careful, Icarus.
That one right there. That one.
Gotta play to your target audience.
Too hot in Texas for the Bears. Well, Letter of the Producer Live. Letter of the Producer Live 71 happened Friday, July 1st. I know it's been a while. And it gave us a bunch of info about the things coming up in patch 6.2 and beyond. Was there anything out of the live letter that you saw that really spoke to you? Is it islands? Are you just going to go live on an island forever?
No,
In-game
I'm
or
not.
IRL?
Yes.
I don't have anything that I was super excited about except for the fact that Dragoon and Astro changes are coming in 7.0, and I don't have to worry about my Dragoon changing yet. So I'm on that copium real hard with that. I don't want them to touch it. Island Sanctuary, like, I am reluctantly optimistic about it because anytime that they add a super grindy system, I have never been a fan of Final Fantasy XIV's grind systems. Eureka, Bajja, the relics, like, it's never been super fun for me. So as long as it's just like a nice, like, do it when you want to sort of thing, not you have to grind to get all the really cool super, like, I don't know. I'm reluctantly optimistic. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
What about the new relic grind?
Well,
Are
we
you
don't
looking forward to that at all? Because you had to grind the Manderville way.
Yeah,
So
it's the most gentlemanly weapon.
it is, and it's probably gonna be gold and sparkle and might be a cactar. Probably
some oil.
I was gonna say, how many times do we have to oil Godbert?
Oh no, not again. Not again.
It's been a while.
But so has anyone noticed that 14 is sneakily making it mandatory that you have to do all of the things to experience the game?
Are you
Like
talking
they did
about
it with
Tataru?
Tataru.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to do all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And then the Crystal Tower before was just optional. Now it's the only thing you get on Alliance Roulette because people need to get it done.
Oh well, now they're gonna get
Just
Mock.
goes the lowest level
Now,
one.
now Shadow of Mock's gonna go
Yeah.
because you need to get that done.
So now everyone is going to have to, if they want the newest relic, and if you don't Savage Raid, if you want the highest item level weapon that you're able to get for a given patch, you're gonna have to do 2.0 Hildebrand all the way through 6.0 to be able to grind the relic. Like,
To be fair though, like 2.0 Hildebrand is the longest part, and everything after 2.0 Hildebrand is basically like nothing.
Yeah, it's super short.
if you skip all the cutscenes, yeah, it's like nothing.
I mean,
But if you're gonna do
the amount of Hildebrand they've
Mandeville-
added since 2.0 or the 2.x series has been a lot less.
Although Stormblood's Hildebrand was.
I'll agree with that one. That was pretty funny.
It was
That one was my favorite. That was better than 2.0.
2.0. Although we'll say current Hildebrand, chef's kiss. It's pretty good. It's got.
Haven't done it yet.
It's got all the things I would want in Hildebrand Quest. It's got all the things I wanted.
So oiling other men, finding hidden swords in sheaths,
Yep.
and
Bombs.
and bombs, and a god with 6 arms that disguise themselves as a dog.
Sure.
We all know like Yojimbo is your favorite character, isn't it?
Well, I love Greg. I love Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh as a Final Fantasy like villain is interesting,
Right?
just because of the multiverse travel. So,
Like, weren't you waiting forever for Yojimbo to show up somewhere in game?
yes, and I think it was cool. Yes, because Yojimbo was the Gilgamesh of Final Fantasy X. They just altered like what Gilgamesh was for 10, and it's cool that like 14 took that concept and then was like, what if Yojimbo's really just Gilgamesh? So and that made it great. So again, go play through. I just like that all of Final Fantasy Twitter and the people that played it were like, yay, like finally I'll get a relic because they like Hildebrand. And the other part of Final Fantasy Twitter was just, I've never seen people so angry about Hildebrand ever. And the last time I saw people this angry about Hildebrand was when they didn't get Hildebrand. Just so
Make up
mad.
your mind. Do you want him or not?
Like, they were like hardcore raiders, and they were just like, I am so upset. And I was like, why? Why are you so mad? I have to do content. I'm like, all right, chill. It's just Hildebrand. It's dumb. It's locked by this dumb crap. And I was like, all right.
I don't know why they're upset about it. They skipped the cutscenes anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, Chief. Good for you.
Oh no, you have to do a couple
5
more
of them, and then you're done.
trials.
You could have started that instead of like spending the 3 hours on Twitter complaining with your 87 like length. You could have done all of Hildebrand in that time.
They did it at work though.
Oh my god! Yeah.
On Twitter, they're angry at work, and then they get home and have to do it.
Sitting in the stall in the bathroom, yelling at people on the internet. It's dumb. All right, good job, Jimmy. Go back to slinging artichoke dip at Chili's.
I think honestly, we know that the best announcement in the entire thing was that they're doubling the glamour dresser size up to 800 now.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, glamour Final Fantasy 14 Twitter was a delight.
Mm-hmm.
They're happy.
Best part.
Unreal people, not so happy because they're getting Sephiroth. I like Sephiroth. That was a great fight. So
We're still waiting for the one-winged angel.
Well, listen, if they didn't do that in the Omega Raid series, I'm not sure if he's actually going to show up.
Yeah.
We still have Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 and 3 for crossover events.
Mm-hmm. We still, yeah, it's true. We do
Monster
have,
Hunter level.
Yeah, we could do a they could do, if they were going to do it. In fantasy world, what they could do is in Final Fantasy VII they have what's called the battle testing. The battle testing, and that's how you unlock some of your summons. So they could
Mhm.
theoretically find a way to make an Allegan like test chamber, uh, technology that allows you to test your might, so to speak, against a foe that's formidable. And then if they wanted to make it like Monster Hunter, they could, if they wanted to. Also, Abyssos is coming. That's Pandemonium, and I'm interested in the story. So
I just mean like they could make the Monster Hunter like a crossover like Monster Hunter where they have a fight like a trial dedicated just to that,
yeah.
and with some story around it, but it just kind of sits there afterwards.
If they really wanted to make it cool, like make it an 8-person fight. Like they really wanted to make it cool, they could really just make it like a really, or even have like a really hard mode where it's 4 people, and then
Like Monster Hunter.
Just like
Now that is actually what I'm super excited about. The new Savage 4-man dungeons.
oh
Yeah,
boy,
the variant ones.
Man,
All right.
I'm ready for
Variant
that.
and Criterion.
Yeah. We could just jump right into like talking to you. Like, we want to just talk about like how Final Fantasy is doing Mythic Dungeons, because essentially it sounds like Mythic Dungeons except without all the gear treadmill aspects. So I mean, we don't know yet. We don't know if there will be gear, but there will be hard content. So I mean, do you think there will be a reward system in terms of gear, or do you think it'll just be like, here's glamour and story?
I don't know. So you mentioned at the top of the show that I was a former co-host of yours when we did WoW Nightcap. Had a lot of experience in World of Warcraft running Mythic Dungeons and all of that jazz. I'm excited that 14 is kind of doing their spin on something like that. I think that it's really good for the game. I think that it's going to be a fun bit of content. What I'm afraid of is anytime that they've introduced something similar to this, the reward structure has not kept people engaged. So if it's just arbitrarily hard for the sake of it just being arbitrarily hard, I don't think people are going to stick with it. And the longevity of it is like, if it's just for bragging rights, then what's the point? Because nobody does, like in World of Warcraft, even now, nobody does Mythic Plus for bragging rights. I mean, some of them do, sure. I mean, there's always like an exception to the rule.
Yeah, they do it for the mount show and then sit in the city with that, like, look at this.
But like it's mostly to get the gear so that they can go on to do other content or even perform better in the Mythic Pluses that they already do.
Right.
14, like, this is what I want them to do. I want them to have it be on par with Savage gear. And what I mean by that, not necessarily item level, but let's think about it this way. When you're trying to go into like the highest raid, like Mythic level difficulty for the actual raids in World of Warcraft, you need to have gear. And one of the ways to get gear so that you don't freaking fall over is either do the heroic version of the raid, right? Or you can supplement that heroic gear with I think you have to be like plus 16, plus 14 gear in Mythic Plus to do that. And if you're already rating on that level, you're going to be able to do that. So that's what I want. That's what I would love to see them use this new Savage Dungeon for. To supplement a way to be better at the opening of a Savage tier. So have it like 5 items levels lower than the maximum that's going to make it hard. Make it hard as balls to actually do, right? Because there's no reason like if you take that system away from the crafters, putting the item level 10 item levels lower than what's going to be the maximum, right? If you do that, then that's just going to be that's not going to be fun for anybody. That's going to crash the economy. That's going to piss off a lot of crafters. But if we can make the item level just low enough to where it makes people want to go in there and do it, so you'll need the crafting gear, right? If you want to do well at the start, you get the gear, and then when you go to jump into Savage, you have supplementations, right? You have supplementations to be able to go and do it. If y'all remember the World First race, where Thoughts Per Second decided to spend, was it 2 hours farming the ruby weapon, getting that weapon, and then jumping into the savage to keep going.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see these do. I want these be that, where you don't need it, but if you had it, it would make things a lot easier, like a ton easier. That's what I would like to see this reward structure be. And then on top of that, make it look good, right? Make it look good. Why did everybody start doing the PvP event?
Because they wanted that glamour. At level
Yeah, they
25.
wanted the wolf collar, like the wolf mark glamour stuff that's been inaccessible to players for. They introduced that into what, 3.0, I think.
Mhm.
So it's been almost 8 years now where people just haven't been able to get that unless you're in like the top of the top PvP.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden it's available. What did people do? They rushed it. Not only
Yeah.
did they rush it, the carrot on the end of the stick was there for people to want to go and do. And then while they were there, they were like, "Holy crap, crystalline conflict is actually fun.
It was a lot more
I want to do
accessible.
this."
Yeah, it was way more accessible.
So if they can put a reward structure that not only is viable and that you can keep it for a longer period of time, so you don't feel like I get the reward, now I'm done and I don't have to do anything anymore. Like, it has longevity, and then it also looks good. That's going to keep people going back over and over and over again. And just like in Savage content, if you want all of the things so that all of your characters can be like this bad A mother trucker, you have a resource to do that. But let's say you don't have time to coordinate with 8 other people. Like when we were raiding in World of Warcraft, we had people in California, we had people in Florida, you have people in Texas, and then you've got people like up in Canada, right? So it's just like trying to coordinate 8 people is
And Britain.
difficult,
Yeah,
lemon
we
difficult.
had like 15 people.
Yeah, right? So
Yeah.
doing it with just 4 is going to be a lot easier.
Chile
to
and
structure.
England. Chile was like, and England.
And yeah, like, so we had people all over the place, right? But having just 4 people that you have to coordinate to do gear that's just as viable, that will make you feel just as good, will make you feel like you're actually progressing, that's a win-win. But they've got to do it right. They've got to do it right. If it's just for glamour, if it's just for bragging rights, what's the point? We already have ultimates for that. You have a shiny weapon.
That's true.
I mean,
Continue.
well, I didn't want to cut you off, but I mean, think about it. That's exactly what ultimates are for. They're to wave your I play this game all the time stick around. And I'm being I'm being nice about it, right? But and like people who like to do ultimates, that's awesome. I would like to do them too. But like I'm not dogging them, but we already have the look at me, I can do really hard content vanity item. We don't need another one of those. Make it accessible for your mid-core players.
I don't. The one thing that I think I'll disagree on with this is I don't think that these should reward gear. And what I mean by this is like I think that similar to a lot of the other content that Final Fantasy has put out, I think it would make a much better token system to be able to get rewards from some sort of currency that you earn through these that you can then exchange for different things. Gear may be one of those things, but I think another thing that would be very important for this would be augmentation, right? So for example, say you have crafted gear, but you can get the items to upgrade the crafted gear from doing this content, and that would bump it up to, let's say, that savage level gear or similar to that level. Or even vice versa, like maybe it bumps the normal raid gear up into a savage level, or maybe they have multiple levels of this gear that you can get,
and
depending on what tokens you have and whatnot.
And in
like,
order
you have to be like the base level version, and then you can get the upgrades and et cetera, et cetera. Like one of the things I find that they have an issue with, especially with giving out gear like this, is once the tier is done, the content is no longer relevant. Right?
And that's
no one goes back and does Alexander because it goes glamour. But if you do a token-based system, you can always keep the content relevant.
So do we need another... so one of the complaints, and Susan will remember this, World of Warcraft had this real big problem in the new expansion that's coming out. And anyway, that's another topic. they're supposedly getting rid of like their currencies on top of currencies on top of currencies.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Does
They have a lot more than 14 though.
Yeah, they
well,
do.
it's true, but 14 is starting to get up there. Like it's starting to get up there to upgrade the crafted gear. You need reins, you need tickets, you need to go farm things for swords, and then you need to go get coins. And there's a bunch of different layers that are starting to stack on each other. Does this currency system that you're describing, do we end up having that same like system on top of system on top of system thing? Because we already have something similar to that, like when you're able to buy robe rent with the new 24-man coin to upgrade your tome weapons or your tome gear to item level 600 right now.
Yeah, like I don't think we necessarily want a token to buy an item to upgrade a gear, right? But being able to have just the token to get the gear, or the token plus the original item you had to upgrade the gear, like I don't think it's adding extra currencies. Like right now we have a bunch of disparate systems, right? We have the poetics and we have the tomestone system. We have one system to update crafted gear, which is just flat out grind those. You have the coin system to upgrade the tome gear, right? So like we have a bunch of each of our currencies in 14 at least is fairly separate, with the exception of the coins to buy the items to buy the gear, which I do hate that system. It's terrible.
How
Like,
many coins?
just give me the items.
I need how many coins to buy this twine to upgrade my thing?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
it sounds like what you're suggesting is that we need another Everlong tome, for lack of a better word, like poetic.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah. But a tome
And
that's
But
specific
that is
to
linked
that.
to these dungeons.
Exactly.
Right. So
Yeah.
we can call them Savage Tome.
Or Criterion coins, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, we already have
whatever.
coins.
Oh,
And
okay.
Well, we can't call them tickets because everything's a freaking ticket in this game. We can call them bear buttholes. Collects 500 bear buttholes because
Oh no.
that's what you got to do in every MMO. But
Again?
like, okay, so we collect these and we get them by doing the savage, and then do they go the way of the Moogle tomes, where you only have them for a certain amount of time, and if you don't use them, you lose them, like. And see, and that's what I'm afraid of. How do you make that? How do you make this system actually viable? Because if you do that, if we do create another Everlong system, like another Everlong tome,
I have the solution. I do have the solution for this. So the idea is that you have a short amount of time in there, right? It's very timed. You have a short. They said that you have a specific set amount of time to kill creatures in those dungeons. I don't know if that's the bosses or whatever, but you only have a specific amount of time. What if it's a degrading system, right? Like you start with like, oh, you're gonna get 50 coins if you can beat it at this time, right? And as you go through, it's like, oh, you died, so now that takes 10 more coins away, and then like you could beat it, but you're only gonna get your whole team's going to get 20 coins, which isn't enough, right? Or 20, whatever they're going to be. You could easily say like, you have to, if you want to get good, you're going to get the most reward out of it, right? And unless you're maybe a high-end person and you're going to go in there, we don't know how difficult this is going to be, but we know that healing is capped, right? There's no raising. So there's no raises. Healing is there. You have a fairly tough time. Mobs respawn if you die. See, they like, so adding a degrading system on these whatever these tokens are going to be would be the easiest way of doing it, because then it's adding a layer of difficulty and you may not get all of them at once. And then if it's the same nugget or whatever it's going to be, then you can have them in their own separate what's it called, rotation. And then you're like, all right, this week's dungeons offer a bonus, right? And like you can try to get in there and do it to the best of your ability and get some extras, and then as they add more. So, and then but maybe they can add
gaining them though, right? This isn't around the maintenance of them.
No, but the gaining them, right? Like the ultimately the gaining them, but adding like a bonus and like say, oh hey, also there's gonna be like a multiplier on this. Like you can get extra, but the mobs hit harder, or right. That's what WoW did with their ultimately started doing with their mythic dungeons. It's like, oh, this week it's exploding corpses, and like you're like, oh, okay. So like they can
okay.
but it adds like this layer of difficulty, and as we get stronger, it still keeps that content relevant if they can add these little tweaks to them and still keep that currency viable.
So then you make that gear. Okay. I'm with you on that one, and I would be okay with that so long as they don't go the full way of WoW. But then we take this idea, right, and then put the gear system that you can earn or that you can upgrade on a season. So let's say right now we're in 6.0, right? How often do we go into the leveling dungeons? Unless we're leveling, right? Not very often. So let's take those dungeons, make them, and this is just example. Let's take like the first 3, the 81, 83, and 85 dungeon. Let's make those the seasons, right? And each week they roll over to see which one is going to be the super savage one. And then when you're able to go through the whole season, you collect however many that you collect, then you're able to use those currencies to modify, upgrade, or even get 4-man savage specific gear. And then add some vanity stuff in there too.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that working as well.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely like a balance that they have to kind of push here, because on one hand you do want to have some way of making this relevant and keeping things relevant, but you also don't want to necessarily have something that you have to always be logging in for, because I think that's one of the things that 14 does really well, is it doesn't make you log in every day, and in order to keep relevant with a lot of things. And WoW does the opposite of this, where they want you to log in every day, and it is not a good situation to be in.
No, it's not. And we don't, and again, we don't know what's going to happen in the next expansion. But current state of WoW is you must log in every day and do all
honestly,
this.
I don't see it really changing a whole lot.
Yeah,
at least not immediately.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of hype surrounding the new WoW expansion, and this is the first time in years. I have bought every single WoW expansion every time it's been announced. Whether I spent a week in the game or 6 months after I bought the expansion, I was at least hype enough to buy it. This time, no. Like you got me way too many times. I'm sorry, I can't.
Which is kind of sad, because it actually looks like they're doing a lot of good with this one, but just
I mean, I don't want to like dive into a bunch of World of Warcraft, but
no.
Understood. It's you got to start somewhere, right? Like, like 1.0 needed to be taken offline for things to be rebuilt and built upon, and even 2.0 wasn't perfect, and they still had to reiterate. And
they had that though, but with Cataclysm.
Yeah, well, Cataclysm doesn't count, because Cataclysm wasn't a rebuilding of the world. It wasn't like, oh, we effed up.
It was.
It was not.
It was a destroy it and leave it that way.
Yeah, they destroyed it, and then they stabbed a sword in it to double tap it.
Point too, right? Like they had the graphics update at that point. They did a rework of some of the world. Like they weren't in a mind state, like they weren't in a state of like, we messed up, we need to do better. They were just like, screw it, let's destroy things and just make something else.
Chili says, can I suggest the Chris video on World of Warcraft versus FFXIV patch time? You can, but again, that is changing, right? Like they've openly just bought a whole new studio so they can effectively create more content for World of Warcraft. Like they just bought the studio that created the game Spellbreak, which was a wizard MMO, a wizard MOBA. Or a wizard, not MOBA, but a wizard battle royale. And they bought that company. Now it's going to be based out of Albany. So it's going to be a whole... they're not, because they didn't want to move them into California. They actually want to have remote spots for Blizzard employees, because they realize California is too expensive. So they're trying to get people... Yeah, so they're trying to get
Albany is not a place I would have chosen.
Well, that's where the studio was, so that they're not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where their studio was. So it wasn't like they were like, we're opening a new studio. No, it was just like where that studio was. Spellforge, thank you, Chili. Spellforge. And the people behind that game have MMO. They worked on other MMOs prior. They from all walks, SWTOR and ESO. Like, they're in good hands, right? So smart, right? Like we may have always said, oh yeah, Blizzard's got a massive team, but a massive team can only do so much work, and like that's artists, and that's massive could be artists. People running your community and dev power is probably going into a lot of things. So having more hands on deck can help with creating more, and especially now different time zones as well. Like you have people that can wake up earlier and work on stuff and then slide it on over to more people. I'm like, here you go, I worked on this, and you can work on it for the rest of the day. Bye. So
you sound like it's so easy.
It's not. I'm not saying I know it's not. I know it's not. But ultimately, right? The big picture is like Ian Hazzikostas being the Yoshi P of World of Warcraft noted that, hey, we know that the community wants more content from us. In order to make that happen, we bought a whole studio to assist us. And the studio, to be fair, Spellforge wasn't doing great. They tried. They even went on the Xbox Game Pass to try to make a last hurrah. Did not work. That's fine. People just weren't into bad timing. Like, I think if that would have came out early enough, it would have been great because, fireball. But long story short, just they realize that. I think that'll change. I'm not championing Blizzard in any sort of way, but it's just, you can see it, just like Quentin said earlier, you can see that they're trying to make the right changes and making efforts for this expansion. And even if it doesn't pay off this expansion, the next expansion, right? The dividends will slowly come around, and how fast they can churn out.
Assuming they learn.
Assuming they learn, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Asmund did a video, and this goes into like MMOs as like a genre, right? He did a video basically saying like, hey, I'm having to make the same video again, and I think Zeppela covered it too. But I'm having to make the same video again, asking you guys to listen to your alpha builds and your beta testers, because if you don't do this, like if you don't do this, if you don't listen to your player base, if you don't listen to your core audience, and like stop doubling down on thinking that you know best because you've been so out of touch with your own game for 3 expansions now. If you don't do this, you're going to effectively, like, if this expansion doesn't rock everybody's socks, I don't see WoW coming back from this with all the crap that Blizzard has had to deal with in recent history. Which is another reason that I'm really reluctant to even go over there, because they say that they're affecting change, but Bobby Kotick's still sitting in the seat. Microsoft is still dragging their feet on how to actually acquire this legally without becoming a monopoly, and all the like gaming news surrounding that. Like, it's
they don't have too much choice in that. They're waiting for the government to clear everything. So
it's just like, it's so frustrating to have the same conversation with the same developers that you've been banging your head against the wall for 6 years. And every MMO that is successful has built upon their player base. Every single one. Think about Guild Wars 2.
Now,
it's still around because they listen to their players. Now, it's not the best game in the world. It's barely around, but it's also flopped.
It would have flopped if they didn't listen to their players.
Well, they were very quiet there for a while, and they didn't have a leader for years until recently, and they pumped out an expansion. Who the hell saw that coming? Not I, because I thought they were just dead in the water.
That's what I mean. They were really, really bad, and they weren't doing anything. And then they started listening to their customers, and they've done a lot better since they've started doing that. So that's a really good example.
Yeah,
they have to do it. Blizzard has to do it. Ian cannot have that stupid interview that he did the one time. Like, y'all just don't know what you really want. Like, that cannot come out of his mouth again.
No,
like, it's true, but you can't say it. People in general don't know what they want. You have to kind of read between the lines of what they say they want to figure out what they actually do want.
Yeah.
Out of Yoshi P, because like Yoshi P, he has gone on record saying, I watched what World of Warcraft did from vanilla to Wrath of the Lich King. I studied it, I loved it, I liked it, and I wanted to do something like that. And look what we got.
Yeah, and he made his team play Cataclysm, so
Don't do this.
See, that's bad. Don't do that.
See, we blew up we blew up the world first.
Yeah, we did that.
Uh,
Smart.
So I guess one interesting thing here, and there's a big difference between 14 and most other MMOs out, and at least Western MMOs on the market right now. You mentioned that companies need to listen to their player base, and I think that's a very important note. But do you think that alpha, beta, the public test realm, all of these things are actually making it harder for Blizzard and other companies to do this? Because if you look at 14, there is no beta, there is no alpha. We do not get any preview content until it launches. And then there's tweaks enough here, but they basically have full creative freedom and to do what their vision is. Whereas with Blizzard, they launch it to beta, alpha, PTR, whatever, before it goes on, and they get tons of feedback. And some people might really like it, some people might really hate it, and they try to balance this, and they get into a position where like no one's happy.
So I agree that the beta testers, the alpha, the PTR stuff is not a great idea for player feedback in the stages of you creating the concept of your expansion. Once you have the expansion basically done, you have your lore, you have the hook that's going to keep people, like that's going to grab people, and then you've got the meat that's going to keep them engaged. At that point, once you have that as its core, hey guys, if you could help us find some of these bugs. That's what the PTR was originally supposed to be, right?
Right.
Hey, go play this, make sure that it all kind of works. Let us know what you feel about like having to, I mean, when you were level 40 and it took forever for you to get 2 gold to buy your riding license, like that sucked to have to walk all the way across Kalimdor to go do a quest. That really sucked. That's the kind of feedback that a PTR should be looking for.
And now if you're a mage and jump off a high place and slow fall.
but your core game should already be in existence. That should already be polished out. That should be ready to rock and roll before PTR is even a question. And if you don't have that, then you don't have a game. I'm sorry, you don't.
I agree with that. Like I would even go further and say that like that 2 gold to grind to get things isn't something that PTR should deal with either. Right? If you aren't thinking about your game's economy, if you aren't thinking about the time investment that it takes to do these things, if you don't have that information, if you don't even know, and you just blindly put that out there, and you're like, then people come back later and be like, this takes way too long, you have already missed a very key component of what you're trying to build, right? You are trusting that you're going to get this feedback when you should already know that information about your game.
Exactly.
So, like, I think that PTR should be more for that, like the stress testing, like Dr. Delicious just mentioned. It should be large groups of people getting thrown at it. Everything is pretty much done at this point. You're just making sure that it all works smoothly together and making minor tweaks. There shouldn't be big things like, oh, we need to increase like currency generation, or we need to make major combat changes or stuff like that. I feel like a lot of that ends up becoming just personal preference for some people, or they like try to tweak what they think when really a lot of it should be what Blizzard thinks, not what the community thinks.
That is absolutely 100% true. And
right, and if it doesn't come out,
creators going and making videos on these like bad systems, it colors and skews the public's perception of what the game's going to be, and then people already go into it with a negative like predisposition to hate the game.
So something I think Blizzard did, and they did it on the last PTR for the end of the Shadowlands, was they didn't release the fight. Like they released the testing of the raid, but they didn't release the last fight to the like nobody got to test that. And it was, I couldn't tell you the last time they ever did that, if at all. Right? And they just didn't do it. They didn't test it. They just like, it's gonna be in there. You're just gonna play it when you play it. And everybody was like, what? Like, why? Like there was like raiders legitimately upset at them. Like, no, we got to test. We got to know. They did not want to ruin it. And it ended up being like a really good fight. They liked the idea of the fight. The story is neither here nor there, but the fight itself was the first time like nobody saw anything. And I was like, do more of that. Just if you don't want us to see something, do more of that so you can keep your cards up your sleeves.
You can arguably do that for the whole thing.
You could arguably do it for the whole thing.
Don't show any raid
at all.
Don't allow people to access half the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just shut it all off. Find the bugs in the base systems.
That's it.
And that's what PTR should be.
Yeah, I saw the dragon riding and I thought like, okay, because when they initially showed off, I was like, oh, this is just Guild Wars 2's mounts. It's not. It's a totally different system. Like I was like, oh, that looks good. Like that looks like a new, interesting. Like they saw maybe what Guild Wars 2 did and said, how do we like make that our own? And I was like, you know what, GG, they did a good job. Like really put some thought into like how dragon riding would work. And like there's cosmetics tied to quests and achievements, and you can get different dragons, and you do smart, so smart. Like they know glamour or whatever is like the true end game, and you can change how your dragons look, and you can change the dragon types, and great. Like they it looks like they put a lot of thought into that system, and the people getting to show that off, and like people like Bellular and Krendor and like whoever other WoW folks are looking at it and saying like, this is actually a lot of fun. Like this, like in order to gain speed, you have to get closer to the ground. So you get like, and then boost yourself, and you can lose, if you lose speed, you can like, you may not maintain it. You could like land and smart. It's a really smart system. It's good. Like they need that's the kind of stuff they need to show off. The Invoker class, I believe it's called, it's also something they need to show off. It's also cool. It's an advanced class. You have to type advanced in to even play it.
It's on the box stuff that gets you. That's the hook.
Yeah, it is
Those
the
are
hook.
the hooks. And then like, so then if they have a great hook, I mean, how many people, especially if you're into the high fantasy thing, dragons, okay, you slap a dragon on any box, you're gonna get the high fantasy crowd. I'm sorry, you are. I mean, you are.
That's not wrong. How many EverQuest box arts have a dragon? A lot of them.
So like, there's your hook.
None of the EverQuest 2 ones.
Really? Well, that explains
Not
a lot.
Until Tears of Vision, I think.
That's what happened then.
There's the problem. So you have an effective hook, right? The new class, the new race, and all the cool like new place that we're gonna go. There's your hook. You got that. You're gonna draw people in that way, and then you already know that you're gonna get your core base people. Now do they even want to eat it? So they put the hook in their mouth. Do they spit it out, or do they hang on? Do you reel them in at that point? Bring them onto your deck and be like, this is my world. This is what I want to share with you. This is the game that I've put all of my passion into and the story that I want to tell. Or did you say, hey, I want you to go to? Are you going to put them to work? I want you to go to this end of the ship and then go down below deck, and then I want you to go to the mast, and then I want you to do the rigging, and I want you to do all of this crap, and then you can have fun for 2 hours in your raid.
Yeah,
and then do it all again next week.
Yeah. No, that they can't keep going that route. And with that, Blizzard has to worry about games like Final Fantasy 14 in the aspect of how 14 handles and respects the player's time, right? Like Yoshi P said, hey, I don't care, take a break, I don't care, like this content will be here, and you can. They have stuff in place where you can relatively catch up fairly quickly via crafted gear, whatever the systems are, to do it really quick. Guild Wars 2 offers a lot of bonuses and bumps, and ultimately I think they can even, half the time if you buy a new expansion, they give you a boost, right, so you can just jump right into that new expansion.
I think most games now have that option now.
ESO system is probably one of my favorites, where it's just like, go anywhere, you play whatever expansion you want, start anywhere you want in the world. Leveling is agnostic. You can, if you want to go to the latest expansion and start from level 1, go ahead. If you want to start from the beginning of level 1, go ahead. Cap is 50, doesn't matter. Have fun. You could play with your friends and it all adjusts, right? Like if Quinn's a higher level than me in ESO and I'm level 1, he wants to help me quest, absolutely can. Everything will adjust to him and me separately. The mega server is great. These are great systems. Blizzard has to start learning from that.
You're absolutely right, and that goes into like the whole concept of like what it means to be an MMO now.
Mm-hmm.
MMOs have like Final Fantasy 14. It knew that if it didn't evolve, it would die,
Yeah.
It did.
right? And
Yeah.
exactly. And so that those systems just don't work anymore. You can't have
Mhm.
the grind for hours and play this massively multiplayer online game because it's the first one. Like you can't piggyback on that. Every game now, like every popular game that's coming out either in the past 6 months or in the next 6 months, which one doesn't have online capability where you can play with other people?
Well, with the last 6 months, okay, not Cuphead.
I would say I only typically play online games, so I don't have a great insight in here.
Very fair, very few. If they are, they're very specific genres and very hey,
Hug
this,
snap. Oh wait, that was more than 6 months.
yeah, like I said, but they're very specific genres, very specific games, right? You're
Mhm.
right though. Most games are
Stray?
even Power Wash Simulator has multiplayer. You can the exact see like Talon's not wrong. He's right.
Oh.
Like even Power Wash Simulator has multiplayer mode. Like you can power wash with friends. Like it's just we live in the world where they know people want to play together very like and now like the idea of a
Wait.
cozy game is playing by
Wait.
yourself, right?
Strange Horticulture?
Well,
Does that have multiple?
no. We
There you go.
we are playing together.
Right,
Again,
but you're in the same. Like
how
it's only Susan playing.
it's only Susan playing. We are
Yes, there's
affected.
one.
We're
We got
effective.
one.
Yeah, we're effectively. Yeah, it's true. Well, actually, can someone check on when that game came out? let's cross reference the date of that release, please.
But as a general rule, that's kind of the way of video
Right.
games nowadays. And I mean, yeah, like Chili says, Horizon Zero Dawn is a great single player experience that
Mhm.
doesn't have any online capabilities yet. But I'm sure that they'd build like someone
The
somewhere in
sequel,
a
yeah.
is in a back room thinking like, how can we? But most games, I mean, you think about Strangers of Paradise, right? You can
Mhm.
do co-op. You can do online co-op and play with your friends in a game that at
Mhm.
its core, Final Fantasy, like the first one, was single player, right? And so all they did was polish it up and then let you go kill chaos, right? But now you can do it with your friends. You can have 3 other Warrior of Light with you and go do the thing. So,
Mhm.
you know, banking on the fact that you're able to do that, back in 2004, back in 2006, when, you know, being able to hook up your console like Final Fantasy 11 to the internet and like oh my gosh, like I'm standing in Orgrimmar and I'm an orc jumping and there's like a tauren that's jumping in front of me and they may be
Zug
from
zug.
England, right? Like that sort of thing is just not gonna grab you anymore.
You're
Like
not that
that's
kind of orc.
standard.
Yeah.
Like that's standard now. So you can't like just expect that people are going to be able to play together, they're going to be able to hang out with their friends online and then that's going to be the thing that brings you to an MMO. No. That's going to bring you to any game. Any game. Among Us, you can do that. Fall Guys, you can do that. Like none of this is like that is standard. In order for you to have an effective game now, you have to have an ability to play with your friends because everything is
Mhm.
more fun when you can play with other people. Yeah, there are those times where you just want to like sit down, have your own experience with your own game, and those still exist, and that's awesome. And I'm glad that those are still
Dark
available.
Souls.
Dark Souls, fantastic. But when you're like getting your face pounded and you're tired of getting your face pounded, you call Buckethead that runs naked with 2 swords and say, "Hey, kill Medigula," or however you pronounce it. Like
That's Elden Ring.
either way, like they sent him a freaking sword, like an
We
IRL
we
sword
called in cousin Grumbo.
to come in to like.
Step pro Grumbo.
But these are the
no.
sort of things. But like MMOs have to
Yeah.
evolve, and if you don't, and like this is why I get so passionate about this particular subject and topic, because when I think about playing a game,
Mhm.
I want it to be an MMO because the memories that I've had that I've created with people Like you guys, for an example, Susan, Chili, Paul, people in my free company who I've known for 8 years. They got married because they met in the game. Like real, actual relationships that you built in these games where you've had these massive adventures. That's a core part of it. But if it wasn't for the game being good to begin with, never would have met you guys. Not ever. Wouldn't have happened. So when I look at an MMO, I want it to be able to capture not the feeling of going out and adventuring with friends, but going out and being able to make friends in a world that is living and organic.
Susan
Those are
had
two
to call
different.
out Talon teaches.
So it's funny that you
Very
mentioned a lot of that, and I know it's something you want to talk about because if you didn't know, Ghostcrawler, aka Greg Street, former World of Warcraft lead developer and director of the game, left and went to Riot. We were trying to figure out what he was doing over there for the longest time. Now he was director over League of Legends, but I don't think he really was. I think secretly he was working towards the announcement he made, I think last year, is that he is effectively now heading and starting to build the League of Legends MMO. And Ghostcrawler, aka Greg Street, if you don't follow him on Twitter, and you may not, he is one of the I would say he's one of the few people I would love to interview, just to pick their brain about MMO design. The other one was Brad McQuaid. May he rest in peace. I would love to talk to Brad McQuaid. He was one of the original people that helped design and create EverQuest and later Vanguard and gave the building blocks to Pantheon Online, the MMO that I'm following, that it will eventually come out at some point. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, and so Greg Street from time to time will ask questions about like, what do you think a guild system should be? What should that look like? And
Not Final Fantasy 14.
yeah. And he's like, and he asks, like, he puts out thoughts, not necessarily questions, but sometimes thoughts. He's like, how should representation be in an MMO? Like what would that look like? And it's not necessarily a question, but it's like a food for thought for people. Like how he's like, he sometimes he's looking for like, how as a developer should not only my team, but as they step into design, what does that look like? Representation for people of races, colors, genders, sexuality. Like, how does that look like in an MMO? And if you look at something like League of Legends and their content they're putting out content that is very unique to all of that. And I can see why he's doing that and building a world and looking at what that world will look like, because it may not be a world of orcs and dragons. It may be cyberpunk. It may be steampunk. It may be. So he's asking very interesting questions. I don't think I've seen someone ask in an MMO sphere before, or someone leading an MMO development design. Because most of the time it's like, what do you guys think about banks? Like, it's not like, what do you guys think representation should look like? Like, what how does that work? And like how, what can we do to make it better?
AI driven.
Yeah, well, no.
Don't do what Blizzard did.
Oh my god. Oh. Please not ever talk about that again. It's all right. Real quick. The sad part was that developers on Overwatch tweeted out like, we don't use that. Whatever that is doesn't exist. It's like, and they were upset because they were like, there are people on this team that are Egyptian and like saying like, we have those people on our team. Like, the people on our team are developing the game. Whatever that is garbage. We would never use it. If it ever comes across our net, we will walk out. Like, ultimately saying like, if Blizzard ever comes to us and say you have to use this, we will effectively leave. And I was like, all right, good. That's good to know. I was like, I want the
Seems
the
like
team.
an ABK thing more.
Oh my god. It was King who was like, King was like, well, what if we like, where did you come from, King? Go play Candy Crush and leave us alone. What are you? God damn it, King. So your question was like, what what's the newest MMO? What it'll look like? I think it'll look like. I think what it'll look like, it'll be a very story driven game, right? Because League of Legends doesn't have a story until now. and they're starting to tell that story within their movies and their music and everything.
They've always had the cinematics too, haven't they?
Not at the
Or in
beginning.
the more recent years.
More recent years, yes. So it's starting to build that lore and starting to build that world, and I think that world will be very unique, and I think it'll be modern. I don't and I don't know what it'll look like as an MMO per se, but I think with Greg Street at the helm, I think there will be raiding. I think there will be PvP. If they want to tap into the PvP market, maybe they'll
They
connect
have to, yeah.
League of Legends into it somehow, or how League plays into it somehow.
I feel like there's gonna be a heavy monetization in there, like microtransaction.
I
That's what League is like bread and butter is.
Yes, and that's going to be the big question is like, is this going to be a free to play MMO? If that's the case, is it going to be, how my player looks? And so Susan says in chat, is the League of Legends the game that had the Netflix show that a lot of people really were into?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Arcane?
Yeah.
Arcane.
Yeah, Arcane. Yeah, even like I was told to watch it. Like I had some people tell me I should go watch it just because it was really, really good.
I've been told it's amazing. It's really,
Yeah.
really good.
Like it's
I
not
still
Not a
need to
huge
get
fan
around
of
to watching
Riot,
it.
but
either
Right?
am I. Yeah.
I still need to get around to watching it. I watched the first few episodes, but
Mhm.
I'm not as engrossed into the League of Legends universe as maybe other people are. But like Peter was saying, like the whole idea of seeing what a new MMO is going to look like, the monetization system is going to have to be something that you look at very heavily too, because right now, there's only two viable. Let me caveat that only two viable MMOs that have a subscription based system. Because I mean, it's World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14. ESO went free to play, but they have microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
And their subscription is actually
Star
still pretty
Wars.
good.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's subs. It's not bad.
Star Wars: The Old Republic, that used to be a subscription based when it came out in 2008. They weren't making any money. The moment they went free to play and changed to calling that microtransactions is a little disingenuous, but basically giving it an online store
Yeah.
to buy cosmetics and coins and credits and the currency there. Their revenue shot up, and not only did it shot up, there's going to be a new SOTOR expansion coming out next year.
I believe it. Yeah.
That's crazy. So what does that look like for subscription base, and then like having an option to have a subscription where you get access to all of the other stuff, and then they still have just like in 14 you pay a subscription but you still have these optional things that you can get. Is that what's gonna come the way of MMOs now?
I mean, if you want my personal opinion, I think it's going to be based on what they feel the need is for their game. I think that if I was Riot, or even if I was Greg Street, I would go to Riot and say, listen, if we want to give this an honest shot, giving it out for free may not be necessarily the best thing, but maybe a buy to play model, right? Where it's like a lot like Guild Wars, where it's you could buy it. The only thing that's on the store is cosmetics, right? You still get the content. You have to buy expansion because it's a lot of work. I know Blizzard's got Riot's got buku dollars. Like they have the money, and
backing.
Yeah, it's. But I think it should be one of their first games they charge for, because they have enough money behind it. Like they can easily charge for it, and people will buy it because it's League of Legends. But I think they have to come in maybe at like a $40 price point, like, which is fair. I think that's a fair price.
Yep.
And it has to have some strong content behind it. Hey, it's going to be up to level 60. It's a story driven world. Create your own character. Like you're going to meet some of you're going to meet some of your favorites from League of Legends. Maybe not all of them right away because you'll need people for expansions, and we'll expand on the story. It'll be tied to Arcane in some sort of way. Like what they really could be diving into is something really good.
And what you're describing is creating that universe, already having your core set ready to go that you can deliver your players, and now you put them into and let them have fun.
Yeah.
Right, kind of like what we talked about, a while back now. But I mean that's essentially it. That right there is exactly what they need to do. And the great thing that Riot has right now is that they already have pseudo lore. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is they have is Arcane and what that has established. The new single player game that just came out, I can't remember the name of it. Um, but then they all the character descriptions for all of their um their characters in the game. And each of those characters, depending on what skin you use, is like an alternate universe where that character existed.
Yeah.
And so that gives you right now there's the Starcaller content that they have right now, which is a separate League of Legends universe where the League of Legends players, characters, heroes, villains are in like a magical girl space game. But then there's also the academy where like everyone is dressed up like they were in high school isekai, right? Then
Oh
you have that, and
no.
then you have like God King Darius, where you like have this one character that went and took over the world, and it's like grim, dark, high fantasy, and all
So,
of those are separate worlds within the same universe.
was it Josh Strife Hayes? I'm sure everybody kind of knows his name as
No.
the handsome MMO reviewer. Likes to play bad MMOs and review
No.
them. You should check him out. He's great. Susan, let's see if we can get him on the show. Susan, he's dreaming. He's
John Strife, John
Josh
Hayes,
Josh Strife Hayes, yeah.
yeah.
He is if take an image of a person who plays MMOs, now make him hot. And also a former karate instructor.
At this point, everyone plays MMOs, so it's very hard to get like your average MMO player.
Yeah.
Well, he's not. He would not like when you see him. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah, we're gonna ignore the fact that Peter and I both have long beards. We're both like in a chair. It's fine.
We're the average. Don't worry. We're the mark. We're the mark. He God, I can't remember the name of the MMO. There was an MMO he found, and he was like, he was only gonna make one episode on it, and it ended up being like 20 episodes. He played all the way to the end, and it was this game based on a book series where it was like these multiple different worlds, and one was a chess world, and one was like a high fantasy like Asian world, and like it was like full of like dragons, and the game was not surprisingly not very good, but there was like something drew him to play it and like keep playing it because the concept of the main hub world was like this future city, and then you would jump into like a medieval town, and then like a fantasy forest, and then you jump in. If they did that with League of Legends, and it was like, oh, you can jump into the arc, like, and every expansion could be like a different
League of Legends
multiverse, yeah. And so he might cover MMOs, but he didn't cover the Jane Austen MMO. No, only I cover the Jane. People that look like me and Talan cover the Jane Austen. Which do no longer exist. They didn't make enough money to keep the one server running the Jane Austen MMO online. The cosmetics in that game did not sell well, apparently. $15 for a bustier did not go over well with the Jane Austen community. So that's maybe the idea. So I don't know. Like it's if you want to know more information, I would suggest go follow Greg Street, aka Grosscrawler, on the Twitters if you're so inclined to do so. He's a bright person. Like he's very smart. Is his idea. He made some of my favorite. He created some of the most interesting stuff that Warcraft had. Honestly, like a small project he did. I don't know if ever heard of it, but Transmog. That was like something that he created and iterated on, and was like, oh, I wonder if people want to just like,
niche.
Yeah, sounds very niche, and his thing. I mean, there's some things that people think Greg didn't do well, but like as any developer, like, oh, like you get praised. If you develop something, guess what? You're getting praised, and you're also getting torn down. So you didn't like. There's no
absolutely. We're just gonna ignore the fact that he was probably one of the more community engaged.
He really was.
People. I mean, he had blue post after blue post after blue post. He tried his best to engage people.
Yeah, he really did. He wrote open, like because Twitch wasn't a thing, right? There was no way to do like video content as easily as it is today. So his way of doing that was doing like these massive like blue posts, and he would write these massive letters to the community and let people respond, and he would respond to them like in the chat, like, which was great. Like it was good to see. Ian Hazzikostas didn't do that. So it's good to see. Ian Hazzikostas now makes videos. That's fine. Talan, I'll let you pick the next thing we talk about. Do you want to talk about well, go ahead. I know we're going long.
Yeah, so we might want to, like, if you have another topic, you might want to wrap that up quick.
I will. So I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him choose, because one can go long, the other one can be really short. Do you want to talk about nasty people, or let nasty people die on the internet, or do you want to tell us about your OnlyFans? I suggest the OnlyFans.
Oh.
Or you can show us your dog. There's a third option. You can show us your puppy.
Okay, so
Also could be related to the OnlyFans. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
There's multiple layers of lore here.
Oh boy, maybe
I can actually I can tie all of this together, and I can hit all of these topics.
Perfect.
The puppy is downstairs currently freaking out, so maybe not the puppy, but if y'all want to show a picture of him, I put him in the show notes or over there, so y'all can bring him up if you want to show what he looks like there.
I could make it happen probably. Hold on.
So the OnlyFans thing. Okay, so there was a while back, like a long while back. Paul was giving me a hard time, and Paul from Google Go Round Radio. If you don't know who they are, definitely go follow them. They're great content creators. Sometimes they talk about Final Fantasy 14, but he was like making a joke about like how streamers need to have an OnlyFans because it helps supplement income and all of that jazz. Like, you know what, Paul, I'll just go ahead and make one. I'll just go ahead and I'll make an OnlyFans. And that was a joke, right? That was supposed to be like a complete like, yeah, of course I'll go make an OnlyFans. Yeah, me. So I made an OnlyFans, and now anytime that I jump onto a show, I don't know how this has like disseminated all the places, but Chili and Paul had a guest on Mrs. Loot just recently, and we brought up the joke about the OnlyFans, and then Mrs. Loot, bless her, just stopped and said, "Wait, Talon, you actually have an OnlyFans?" OnlyFans. No, I don't actually have one, but I mean, if you want to give me money to see like glamour shots of my beard, I'm not gonna tell you no. I'm not gonna tell you no. Okay?
New channel point redeem.
Yeah.
Beard glamour shots.
There you go. Susan, keep talking. But the other thing about that, going into like the OnlyFans thing and like being a content creator and just like being a person who is on the internet as a public facing person, sometimes we deal with some crap. And when you decide that you want to be a streamer, you kind of sign this unspoken contract that you are going to have all kinds of people come in and interact with you that you typically maybe necessarily wouldn't invite to have around. And anybody who has followed me for any extended period of time knows exactly what my content is all about and kind of what I do.
Like Xenos?
Yeah, extra thick, right? My entire channel is based upon gaming politely. Like that's our tagline, right? I try to create a safe space for every single person. We play games, we do it politely, we're nice, we're kind. We even have like a language filter, because if kiddos want to come and actually watch some content, depending on the game, right, there's still like the tag that says, hey, this may be for a mature audience, viewer discretion advised. That's just there as a general rule, because if I'm get talked into playing Phasmophobia, or that other terrifying game that I can't remember the name of right now, where Peter was like, "Yeah, Talon, you should play it. There's nothing. It doesn't have any jump scares." And then I like scream 7 octaves because there's a jump
Resident
scare, and then
Evil?
there's like a naked lady crying blood out of her eyes with a blood fountain. Yeah, that was. I
What
still
game
have
is this?
nightmares
This
about
sounds awesome. What did I suggest?
It's in my backlog. I'll have to look at it. It started with an A. You suggested it, and I bought it, and I streamed it, and I did it one time.
Amnesia?
There you go,
Oh
Amnesia.
yeah, Amnesia. Oh yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
game.
both of you convinced me that
I've
Talon
never
do this.
played it.
Oh, so good.
No, good is not the word I would call that. So I have that tag on there just in case we're playing something like that. That's just, maybe not everybody's thing. Viewer discretion advised. I had somebody come into my chat last night, 2 nights
Mhm.
ago, and when you're on Twitch and you have like your rules before anybody can chat, even if you're a regular, anytime like the first time you click on the chat box, it says these are the chat rules. My chat rules are basically don't be dumb, don't be mean, no, not safe for work, keep politics out because we all have our opinions about it. We don't need to talk about it. We can do that on another section, whatever. Keep it clean. This person comes in, never had been on my channel before, and I'm streaming Final Fantasy VI, pixelated Final Fantasy VI. And that's going to be very important here in just a moment. They come on, and before saying hi, hello, or anything, begin to describe some not safe for work actions between 2 of the characters in the game.
Ooh, that nasty.
And I'm not saying like,
Friggin'
you can't
nasty.
have that sort of thing or you can't be into that sort of thing. But when I say like they came in and like derogatory, like ways that you would describe someone
Maybe they should
in
get a
the
billboard.
worst. Well, it was worse than that. Okay,
Someone
it
needs
was
the T video.
Yeah, well, and I put out a Twitter statement about like why I don't have this, like why I don't allow this kind of stuff on my channel. Because the thing about tea is when you want tea, you can go get a cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't want tea, you don't have to drink tea. When somebody offers you tea, you don't have to take the tea they offer you, right? And the tea is usually in a cup, and you don't get to see what kind of tea it is. But then when somebody like spills that tea all over you, that's consent is a thing. My chat saw this; they were not real happy about it. They were kind of like, "Whoa, that this is wild." And I just told this person like, "Hey, you're new. Maybe you didn't read the rules. Welcome to the channel, but we don't do that kind of stuff here. We don't do that. Like that's not what we're about." And instead of apologizing or just leaving, right? Again, I wasn't knocking them for having like if that's their thing, that's their thing. I'm not here to kink shame, but they proceeded to go and attack my physical appearance. And before they left, they said, "Well, it doesn't matter anyway. You're fat," and then just took off.
That's such a 13-year-old on the internet like you're fat.
Yeah, I sat there for like a good 5 seconds, just kind of staring at the chat box, like, did this actually this happen? I've been streaming for like 3 years now. This is the first time anything like this has happened, and I know I'm not the first person, and I'm certainly not going to be the last. And women content creators go through something like this 1,000 times more than I do, and that will have ever experienced. There is never a time, ever, and I want everybody who hears this either now, later on, whenever, 100 years from now, while the Maelstrom Radio podcast is still available.
Paul's mom, whoever.
But Paul's mom. It is never okay to go after somebody's physical appearance or insecurities because you're pissed off and got called out for something. They didn't attack my content. They didn't attack my gameplay. They didn't even go after like the crappy green screen that I had at the time that had holes in it. Right? No, it was me. and the way that I look. The way that somebody looks is usually not something that anybody can help. We're all born in a spectrum of different ways, right? We all look different. Quentin looks different from me, then looks different from Peter. We're gonna ignore the beard comparison for now, but like Susan looks different than I do, as same as like like we're all different, and none of us have any
Susan's beard's
control.
pretty epic.
I believe it.
Green.
None of us have that much control over the way that we look outside of diet and exercise. Okay, who we are and like metabolism, medical, all of that stuff, like it costs you nothing to be kind. Why would you want to go after somebody for simply telling you to follow the rules? Like I don't understand it. And then when I think about it and I'm like, okay, oh, poor Talan. It hurt, but it wasn't like oh no, I'm distraught about this. It got me thinking. How many content creators sit there and pour their heart into Twitch, into YouTube, and then the only take Unaleska, for example. She's a Final Fantasy collector. She's on her way to being a Guinness Book World Record holder for the largest Final Fantasy collection to have ever existed, and I wish her the best of luck. People go in and attack her and say that she's not an actual Final Fantasy fan because she's a conventionally attractive person. And then on the same side of that, there are content creators who don't follow the status quo or normalized whatever, and then like, oh well, your opinion doesn't matter because you look fat or you have this kind of skin or your beard isn't as long as Peter's, or anything stupid like that. How does that? I don't get it. I don't.
It happens. We learned that on one of my YouTube videos back when Final Fantasy was like, hey, we're going to give away fat chocobos. And I was like, not a lot of people of color on that on that list of people you picked. And I made a video about it. And as an Hispanic person, I was like, I have a right to speak on behalf of for people for BIPOC. And boy, did the internet think that I did not. They were like, first of all, I use the term Hispanic Hispanic X, right? Like, and then I got teared in for that, and then they're like, if I have friends who are Hispanic, and how dare you? It's like, oh, excuse me, sir. Sorry, so sorry that I offended you.
Yeah. And it goes the same way of like just treating everyone, no matter where their walk of life is. And when I say that I create a safe space for everyone who comes into my channel, I mean that LGBTQ plus, trans, black, white, purple, bearded, non-bearded, tall, short, everything under the sun. Everything under the sun. If you come to my channel, you are safe. We are not going to attack you for being who you are. That you can be safe here. You can be who you want to be here.
That puppy lives over there.
Attacking people that way, no matter not just my channel, but anywhere on the internet, don't do that. There's absolutely no reason for it. And in a world where, especially in the US right now, where things are just going absolutely nuts, we can all use a little more kindness. And that's I try to promote this as much as I can on my channel. And Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite games, mainly because of this line. The main protagonist, their quote is, "You don't need a reason to help people. You don't need a reason to help people." And again, I keep saying this, it costs you nothing to be kind. You have no idea what somebody is going through. They may be on Twitch streaming, they may be creating that YouTube video because that gives them a small modicum of joy, and then you come in there and you tear them down for what? You tear them down, and is that supposed to make you feel better? They may have been struggling with a bout of depression, or maybe they're struggling with body issues, like body image issues. They may be struggling with whether or not they want to come out to somebody, right? There's no reason why you should come and attack somebody's personages for any reason at all. And back in the 90s, there was this, call me a boomer. I'm a millennial, but call me a boomer. We had this saying.
Millennial, but call me a boomer. Can I jot that
millennials
down?
here, like
Please jot that down as a show title. Please, thank you.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just don't. Because two things I guarantee you are going to be true if you don't have anything nice to say. One, at the end of the day, you might get your 15 seconds of fame, right? Where it's addressed and then like we move on. But two, no one is going to care or remember that you were a butthead. They're going to remember the people who stood up for those who you tried to attack. And those are going to be the ones who are immortalized, not you. Like love everybody. Yeah, it's like Raven said, love everybody.
ELE, everybody love everybody.
It's like it's not a very hard concept. And then somebody had said one time, like they were really taken aback. I had told someone, "Okay, I love you, man," and he looked at me and was like, "Wait, you love me?" And they stopped and like they paused. Like, "What do you mean you love me?" Like, "Yeah, dude, I love you. I wish you the best. I hope everything works out for you." He's like, "You don't even know me, man." And my response was simply this: if people can hate for no reason, then I can love for no reason.
that I also want to bring up on that point that a lot of people always associate love with like romance, like romantic love. And that's not like that's one small bit. Like love is much larger than that. Just because someone says love you, like it's not like they are attracted to you and they are romantically interested. No.
Right.
It's just like hate doesn't mean like I absolutely dislike you immensely. Like hate is a much broader concept.
Yeah. I
we
usually
use it as a much broader concept, but we don't use love as a broad concept in that sense either.
It's like you love tacos, right? But you're not romantically linked with tacos. But if you are, I'm not judging you for it.
Right? Like don't make me have to interact with that taco loving content, right? If I don't want to.
No.
But you do you, and like there's a spectrum in that whole thing there.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, having more of that around in the world is definitely the benefit to all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love can be respect. Love can be any number of things.
Oh, with that, Talan, tell people where they can find the love.
You can find the love and all the wholesome content over at twitch.tv/Talan Broadbent. You can find me there, and then you can also find me on Twitter at Talan Broadbent. Talan is spelled Talan. And if you have enjoyed this episode of Maelstrom Radio, you liked what I had to say, and you're interested in any of the things that I do, come over and give me a follow on both Twitch and on Twitter. We are going to be revamping some old content. Podcasts are coming back, and the Talan Teaches series, which is going to go strictly to YouTube, where we'll be doing guides for MMOs. Final Fantasy XIV will be the start, and then as we get into other MMOs, we'll be doing guides on some of those things. And before anybody says, like, oh, we already have guides about this, we already have guides about that, but you don't have one made by me. So there you go.
Talan teaches how to make a guide.
Talan teaches how to make a guide. And there you go.
Perfect.
Oh, the romantic clubs on OnlyFans.
We'll run through the. We'll run through how to edit your beard glamour, OnlyFans account.
Yeah. Only beards. So with that, real quick, just to get through the business, real quick, bonusroll.gg. So if you were a fan of any, maybe the Nightcap, the WoW Nightcap, you may have remembered WoW Radio being a website. It's now bonusroll.gg. They rebranded, and now they're all the things. They are all the things. They are all MMOs. They are ESO, World of Warcraft, podcasts, gaming, D&D. They are everything. And you can find us there as well at bonusroll.gg/directories/Maelstrom Radio. You can just look up Maelstrom Radio. Go find us and like us over there. It'd help. Just go do it, please. Thank you.
Also, thank you, Chili, for leaving a comment and a 5-star rating.
Perfect. Thank you. Go do that more. Our next podcast recording will be on Saturday, July 30th at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. BST. So that means our friends over in the UK can have a nice dinner and sit back with a nice cup of ice cream or nightcap or whatever they want and enjoy a show. Now, with not only myself and Quentin, but our guests back for the second time ever, Generic Live. Our friends over at Generic Live will be here. So we're gonna touch base with them and see what's going on. A lot has changed for them, so I can't wait to find out what's going on.
I'm sensing a pattern for the last episode, this episode, and next episode.
Uh-huh.
We all have guests with great beards.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Cox on 200, Talan for 201, and Eric will be on for 202.
Yep. Beard Boy Summer.
I want that to be clipped where Quentin said that I have a good beard, and I just want everyone to. Thanks, man. That means a lot.
Of course, we have goals. When we reach 666 followers, and we're inching ever so closer to that goal. I have committed to streaming a complete Hades run. Quentin and Susan will provide background support.
Good talking.
Okay. Encouragement. When we reach 777 Twitch followers, all three of us will stream together wearing adorable geek roomies, and it'll be the much cuteness. And of course, as always, till C swallows all. Keep listening.
Maelstrom Radio is brought to you by MaelstromRadio.com and Blackfire Media. Produced by Flatus, Shintier, and Susan Sprinkle. Join us live Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/MaelstromRadio. Send email to show@maelstromradio.com, tweet us at maelstrom_radio, or join our Discord at maelstromradio.com/discord. Views and opinions expressed by our hosts and guests do not reflect the views and opinions of any companies discussed on today's show.